Have you talked to Jake Paul? Any advice you've given him recently?
Well, he came to the gym, and I'm telling you, he actually a good student. He listened real well and knowledge about who you gonna pick, because that's what life is about.
Evander Holyfield, a former undisputed champion in both the cruiserweight and heavyweight divisions, has provided a detailed breakdown of the upcoming fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul on July 20th. Drawing from their fighting styles, experience, and past performances, he has offered a well-rounded prediction of how the bout might unfold. Although many assume Holyfield would favor Tyson due to their history as rivals turned friends, his analysis remains fair and unbiased. Let's get into his expert take on the fight.
Down went Tommy Fury! He says it was a slip, the referee's giving a count!
That was a good shot, wasn't it? But he probably caught him as when he's off balance, and he's definitely touched.
Evander Holyfield has taken a neutral and analytical approach, focusing on delivering an accurate and reliable assessment of the upcoming fight. Rather than leaning on personal opinions or biases, he aims to provide fans, fellow professionals, and analysts with a well-rounded perspective. Fight predictions often spark debates, but what many truly seek is an honest, realistic breakdown they can trust. Holyfield has done just that, relying on logic over emotions to evaluate the matchup. He began his analysis diplomatically, acknowledging the strengths of both fighters. According to Holyfield, this fight is well-balanced, with each boxer bringing their own set of advantages and disadvantages. This view contrasts with those who believe either Tyson's age or Paul's inexperience makes the fight one-sided. Speaking from a professional standpoint, Holyfield stated, both are great fighters with impressive styles. We're not talking about a young Mike Tyson, this is an older version. That makes it an even fight. What Tyson loses in age, Paul gains in youth. Evander Holyfield continued his breakdown by highlighting how Paul's disadvantages in weight and experience are balanced by Tyson's strengths, making the fight an even contest. He then shifted focus to Jake Paul's abilities, addressing the common criticism that Paul only faces older opponents. Holyfield referenced Paul's fight against Tommy Fury, emphasizing that it was a close contest that could have gone either way. In his view, that performance proved Paul's legitimacy in the boxing world. Despite not being overly impressed by Paul's recent streak of first-round knockouts, Holyfield still acknowledged his skill and power. Yeah, I think for his category, Paul's got a heavy punch. A lot of people only look at heavyweight fighters when talking about punching power, but trust me, for his size, he's got it. He has a solid record of knockouts. We shouldn't dismiss him by saying he doesn't fight real boxers. He fought Tommy Fury, and he held his own. He's fought 2 other boxers and knocked them out. He's doing well. I think he has the kind of strength that could help him transition smoothly into heavyweight boxing. If you watch his fights, you'll see what I mean.
Down went Tommy Fury! He says it was a slip, the referee's giving a count!
That was a good shot, wasn't it? But he probably caught him as when he's off balance, and he's definitely.
Referencing Jake Paul's past fights, Holyfield acknowledged some key moments that showcased his ability in the ring. Paul's first professional bout was against YouTube star Anessen Gibb, who had prior boxing experience from 2 amateur fights. However, Paul had a clear size advantage, and Gibb struggled to maintain his balance when Paul unleashed his power shots. Paul scored 3 knockdowns in quick succession, leaving the referee with no choice but to stop the fight and award him a TKO victory. This dominant performance marked the beginning of Paul's boxing journey and set the stage for his rise in the sport.
Jake Paul finished it off. Beautiful right hook. That was a beautiful right hook. And Jake Paul actually told us yesterday, Devin, that he thought it would be the check hook that would end the night. He was throwing them.
In his second fight, Jake Paul delivered an even more dominant performance. Nate Robinson was knocked down late in the first round after Paul capitalized on an exchange in the clinch. The second round saw Robinson hit the canvas twice more, with the final knockdown leaving him face-first on the mat. The referee immediately stopped the fight, awarding Paul another knockout victory. With 2 back-to-back knockouts, Paul faced criticism for not fighting experienced combat athletes. In response, he stepped into the ring against former MMA fighter Ben Askren. However, the fight was even shorter than his bout with Robinson. Askren, a former ONE and Bellator welterweight champion, was coming off a 2-fight losing streak in the UFC and seemed unprepared for the challenge. Paul made quick work of him, scoring a first-round knockout in under 2 minutes. At this point, Paul's record of 3 straight knockouts was no longer seen as a fluke. As the saying goes, once can be luck, twice a coincidence, but 3 times proves a pattern. His power was now undeniable, backing up what Holyfield had pointed out in his analysis. However, Paul's 4th fight was different. It was the first time he went the distance. His opponent in that match was Jake Paul's 4th fight was against former UFC welterweight champion Tyron Woodley, a much tougher challenge than Ben Askren. Unlike Askren, Woodley was in peak condition and brought real power to the matchup. Paul fought carefully, landing 71 total punches, including 35 power shots, compared to Woodley's 52. At one point, Woodley had Paul against the ropes and seemed close to finishing him, but Paul recovered and took the fight the distance. Even without a knockout, his punching power remained a key factor in securing victory. In their rematch, Paul once again faced Woodley, this time delivering a spectacular finish. The fight seemed to be heading for another decision, but Paul shocked the crowd with a massive right hand that knocked Woodley out cold. As Woodley hit the canvas, Paul stood over him, celebrating what would become one of his most iconic knockouts. With that win, Paul extended his record to 5 victories, 4 of them by knockout, further proving the power that Holyfield had highlighted in his analysis. The only blemish on Paul's record came against Tommy Fury, but even in defeat, Holyfield believed Paul performed well. Fury came out more aggressive than in previous fights, immediately putting pressure on Paul and leading to the first clinch of the match. Clinching became a major theme throughout the fight, with both men using it to disrupt each other's rhythm or create resets. However, it reached a point where the referee had to step in repeatedly, playing a bigger role in the bout as it progressed. As the fight progressed, Fury's jab became a key weapon, repeatedly landing on Paul's face and preventing him from finding his rhythm. This constant pressure made it difficult for Paul to get into range and unleash the powerful overhand rights that had led to many of his past knockouts. However, Paul continued to fight back, having moments of success whenever he was able to slow Fury's pace. Heading into the 8th and final round, it was clear that Fury was likely ahead on the scorecards. Paul needed something big to turn the tide, and he delivered a dramatic moment with a well-timed left hand as Fury stepped forward. The punch knocked Fury off balance just enough to make him touch the canvas, resulting in a knockdown. Though Fury wasn't seriously hurt, the moment created extra suspense before the final decision, as the 10-8 round in Paul's favor tightened the score. If Paul was able to knock down Fury, he deserved the same recognition that Francis Ngannou received for flooring Tyson Fury in their fight. However, when discussing Paul's weaknesses, Holyfield pointed out a deeper issue: distractions. "I don't fancy so many distractions," Holyfield remarked, highlighting a crucial factor that could impact Paul's long-term success in boxing. "For boxers, focus is everything," Holyfield explained. "We practice discipline, go through intense training camps for months, and stay locked in. I think Jake Paul is too distracted for a boxer. He has the same issue as Ryan Garcia, but he's handled it better. I understand he started as a YouTuber, and he could just stick to that, but if he truly wants to become a boxing champion like he says, he needs to cut down on the distractions." After discussing Paul, Holyfield shifted his focus to Mike Tyson, a fighter he knows better than most. Having been Tyson's rival, enemy, and now friend, Holyfield has a unique perspective on both the inside and outside of Tyson's boxing career. "When I fought him, I studied him closely," Holyfield said. "I took my time to understand his style. If you look at the few fighters who managed to beat him in his prime, they were exceptional boxers. If you weren't a great boxer, beating Tyson would instantly make you one. When I defeated him, I knew I had done something special." Holyfield's words perfectly captured the challenge of facing Tyson. His unique style left opponents struggling to find a way to attack him. The proof was in his fights, particularly in the match Tyson saw as a chance to get revenge for his hero, Muhammad Ali.
Did you say in the ring that you were sorry?
No, I didn't.
Were you sorry?
Well, not at that moment. I wasn't sorry. I wasn't sorry then, no.
Reflecting on his fight with Larry Holmes, Mike Tyson shared a powerful story about his deep connection to Muhammad Ali. "We watched Ali fight Holmes on closed circuit," Tyson recalled. "Holmes beat him badly. Afterward, we drove 30 miles home in complete silence. No one said a word. We got home, went to bed, and still, no one talked about it." The next morning, Tyson overheard his trainer, Cus D'Amato, on the phone with Ali. He was telling Ali, "He's a bum. Why'd you let that bum beat on you?" Tyson said, I got on the phone and told Ali, when I grow up, I'm going to avenge you. I'm going to knock him out for you. Ali's response, however, wasn't what Tyson expected. He just said, yeah, I'm the greatest. I took medicine, got sick, but I'll come back and knock Holmes out myself. I was crying because he didn't even acknowledge what I said. He didn't realize how serious I was. 8 years later, Tyson got his chance. In a fight for the undisputed heavyweight championship, he faced Holmes, and it didn't take long for him to make good on his promise. In the fourth round, Tyson knocked Holmes down 3 times before securing a brutal knockout victory, becoming the only fighter ever to stop the Eastern Assassin. If there was one thing that defined Tyson's boxing style, it was pure aggression. He didn't just fight, he attacked. His relentless pressure, unpredictable movement, and explosive power overwhelmed opponents. Speaking about the Tyson-Holmes fight, Evander Holyfield shared an insight into what fueled Tyson's ferocity. Tyson's childhood built up a lot of anger in him. Every fight was an outlet for that rage. He never missed a chance to unleash it. He was the real Fury. Holyfield's words gave new weight to Tyson Fury's name, making it seem like a direct tribute to the relentless, unstoppable aggression that defined Mike Tyson. It wasn't just Tyson's name, it was his fury.
And this is the first round.
Holyfield continued, emphasizing that Holmes was just one of many great fighters Tyson faced throughout his career. But it wasn't just Tyson's aggression that made him special, it was also the sheer power of his punches. His punches were deadly, Holyfield said. I took some of them myself, so I know what I'm talking about. If power is the last thing to fade, then Jake Paul better be ready to put on a defensive masterclass. Holyfield also pointed out the stark difference in their early records. Tyson had knockouts in all of his first 19 fights, compared to Jake, who only had 3 knockouts in his first 3 bouts. And when you look at the level of competition, Tyson was knocking out much tougher opponents. One of Tyson's most defining traits was his knockout power, which even saved his career at a critical moment. In a fight where he was trailing on all 3 judges' scorecards, Tyson landed a single devastating punch that completely turned things around. It was a shot that traveled barely a foot, but it put him right back among boxing's elite. In boxing history, certain punches are spoken about with awe: the shot Muhammad Ali used to drop Sonny Liston, the crushing power of George Foreman and Joe Frazier. Tyson's knockout of Francois Botha, delivered just seconds before the end of the 5th round in a dramatic comeback, belongs in that same category. It was a punch worthy of the greats, proving once again why Tyson's power was truly special.
In the 11th round.
First time punch with both. Now again.
One observer compared it to witnessing a plane crash. Fast, devastating, and absolute. The punch landed flush on Botha's face with a sickening impact, drawing a collective gasp from the 13,000 fans packed inside the MGM Grand Garden. Then came an eruption of cheers. That one punch kept his career alive. But the elusive head-moving warrior who dominated Michael Spinks in 1988 is long gone. Now, Tyson is a pure power puncher. Nothing more, nothing less. Angelo Dundee, Muhammad Ali's former trainer, put it bluntly: anybody has a shot at beating him now. Heck, he doesn't even sneer like he used to. The aura of invincibility. Gone. Though Tyson never had the chance to truly measure his knockout power against the best of his era, one can only imagine how destructive his punches were. Evander Holyfield weighed in, saying, "You've seen his training clips with Rafael Cordero. His power is still insane. That's just something Mike was born with." If you bet on a Tyson fight ending in a knockout, chances are you'd be right 9 out of 10 times. But his success wasn't just about raw power or aggression. This time, Holyfield highlighted an often overlooked part of Tyson's skill set: his counterpunching. What people don't realize is that his counters are just as deadly as his attacks, Holyfield explained. If you throw a punch, you have to be twice as careful, or you'll end up getting hit with your own momentum. A perfect example: Tyson's fight against Henry Tillman. The moment the bell rang, Tyson charged forward, forcing Tillman to retreat. For the first minute, Tillman barely threw a punch, circling the ring to avoid Tyson's heavy shots. But Tyson eventually closed the distance, launching a series of powerful combinations that forced Tillman to clinch repeatedly. Then, with just 25 seconds left in the round, Tyson trapped Tillman in the corner. Tillman tried to land a jab, but Tyson was ready. He countered with a vicious right hand that sent Tillman crashing to the canvas. The referee counted him out, and Tyson won by knockout at 2:47 of the first round. Holyfield also touched on another key factor, Tyson's mental strength. He said that throughout his career, Tyson faced countless setbacks both in and out of the ring, but he always found a way to bounce back. His mental strength was on full display when he spent 3 years in prison, only to return and reclaim his title. Even during personal struggles, like his divorce, he showed resilience. One of the biggest tests came in his fight against Frank Bruno. The opening round was explosive. Within 30 seconds, Bruno hit the canvas, but the referee, Richard Steele, quickly warned Tyson for rabbit punches, illegal shots to the back of the head. Bruno didn't back down. He had a brief moment of success, even rocking Tyson and nearly putting him on the floor. But that would be the last time he had the upper hand. In an interview, Bruno recalled the moment he thought he had Tyson beaten. "When I landed that punch and saw him wobble, I really believed I had him. But then he came back stronger, and I felt every bit of it." The loss hit hard, not just physically but mentally. "It's tough to explain the kind of pain that comes with losing a fight like that," Bruno admitted.
Thus far, he hasn't been able to really land anything.
Bruno shook up the arena when he stunned Tyson with a powerful left hook, sending the crowd into a frenzy. Reflecting on the punch, Tyson admitted, "It was harder than the one Tony Tucker hit me with," referring to a shot he took in their unification bout 2 years earlier. Still feeling the effects of his divorce and showing signs of ring rust, Tyson needed 3 more rounds to fully find his rhythm. Meanwhile, Bruno was feeling the pressure. He resorted to clinching frequently and absorbing heavy shots. Tyson kept hammering away with left hooks, looking to finish the fight, but Bruno showed incredible toughness. By the 5th round, the fight followed the same pattern. Bruno was in survival mode, but then Tyson landed a brutal left to the body, sending him staggering back into the ropes with 20 seconds left. Tyson had thrown everything at him, yet Bruno refused to go down. This kind of resilience, this mental strength, is what Evander Holyfield called the greatest ability a fighter can have. Holyfield did an excellent job breaking down both fighters' strengths, and when you compare them, it's clear Tyson had far more advantages than someone like Jake Paul. However, the Tyson that Holyfield once analyzed so thoroughly hasn't existed for nearly 2 decades. Whether any of those legendary traits remain, only a real fight, like the one set for July 20th, can answer that.
Knockout wins. Holmes still won most of his fights by accumulating punches before his knockouts occurred.
Interview 9. Fans everywhere are eager to see if the Mike Tyson stepping into the ring on July 20th is a reborn warrior or just an aging legend past his prime. As for Jake Paul, expectations remain the same. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and most importantly, turn on notifications so you never miss out on our top quality content and the latest updates in the boxing world. Until next time, peace out.